All right, welcome in everybody. Welcome to Assisted Living Investing. Today we are going to be talking about the 5% rule. So if you've been struggling, I've talked about this a little bit the past couple of weeks actually, just kind of touched on it briefly. And this was something I got quite a few questions from, questions about people wanting to know a little bit more about the 5% rule, what it is, and how it can help you as you're trying to do your market research to identify if you've got a good market or not for assisted living. So, if you're interested in learning more about the 5% method, the 5% rule for doing quick analysis for your facility to see if you've got a good market, make sure you stick around for today's video. Hi, my name is Brandon Gustafson. I help first time assisted living entrepreneurs launch profitable, purpose driven businesses, creating prosperity, purpose, and peace in their lives. I love coaching people and giving them direction. And I have a few different programs, and I help people that are going from beginning. I don't know how to get started all the way to, I've got multiple facilities, or I want multiple facilities, anywhere across that gamut. I have a 30-second quiz for you to take. If you go to aliquiz.com, you can take that quiz really quick, and it will show you which program is the best fit for you. Also, if you stick around till the end of today's video, I've got a special invitation for you to work with me directly for a full week to help you build a roadmap that's going to help you launch your assisted living business. And then I want to remind you as well, get over to the website assistedlivinginvesting.net so you can get access to the free underwriting calculator there. Go there. It's a big blue box, just right there at the top of the page. Light blue box says "Get your free calculator." Go grab that, and you can also take the quiz there as well. So with that, let's hop into our topic for today. Again, we're talking about the secret for validating assisted living quickly to make sure that the market's going to work for you. And this is what I call the 5% rule. So we're going to talk about today what the 5% rule is, why the rule is not enough, and why you need to dig a little bit deeper. It's a great place to start, but it's not going to be enough. And how to dig deeper into your market as well to make sure you've got a really good fit for what you're trying to build here. So let's talk about what the 5% rule is. I use a story, and I actually talk about this in my book. Grab it for you here. So I talk about this in the book, the Profitable Assisted Living Facility. You can get it at thealibook.com, or you can go on website on to Amazon and search for the Profitable Assisted Living Facility. It'll pop up for you there. There's actually a companion workbook as well that you can buy that gives you all the exercises. So go check it out, thealibook.com. Would love to have you use that. But I talk about it in the book. It's actually, you saw right here, this sticky note. It's something that people ask me about all the time, is the 5% rule. So this is on page 138 where I talk about it. I'm going to use an example here from the book. And I talk about how, let's say that you have a population that you want to serve, that it's an elderly care, that's the population you want to look at. So you're looking at individuals who are, let's say, 70 plus. All right. So if you have a population, a group of a population 70 plus, and in the area you want to do this in, there's 20,000 individuals that are fitting that base criteria. You know, they reach that age mark, and so they're a part of your criteria for what you want to serve. 5% of that population is going to need assisted living services. So I talk about this in the book. That means 5% of 20,000 is 1,000 assisted living beds are going to be needed in that area. So that's at its core the 5% rule. You want to pick your criteria. You know, what type of resident do you want to be serving? Is it strictly elderly care? Do you want to be serving women only? Do you want to be serving a population that deals with disabilities? What population do you want to serve? Figure out what that population size looks like, and then multiply that by 5%. That's going to get you to the amount of people that are going to be needing assisted living services. And because the the world of assisted living, like right now, there are 10,000 people per day that are turning 65 and older. So if you're working on an elderly care population, like that's every day, right? There are so many people that are aging up into this population of needing it. So that number is always changing. So if you're at 5% today, that means there's probably going to be more people that are aging into that population in the future. There's a huge demand for assisted living services. So the 5% rule is going to be really helpful in just gauging, can I work with this? It gives you a baseline for what that demand is going to be. It's not perfect. Nothing really ever is, but it does give you a baseline so that you know what you should be looking for. In the example of 20,000 individuals, we have 1,000 people that's in our population that we can serve. Now we need to be digging into that a little bit deeper to see, is what's already out there in the market, and are we going to be able to help meet the supply that demand is telling us that we've got. So it turns these really big numbers. When you look at a population, you look at the population of the United States, it's I don't even know how many hundreds of millions of people. Takes that, helps you shrink this down into small manageable chunks of people to then really start looking at it, and helps you get some clarity for better decisions. So I have somebody in my success system program. We were working through this. She's in Virginia, and she had narrowed it down to I can't remember the specific areas, but we were looking at them very broadly. I said, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go and pull this data, do your market research. Let's pull the data of the population. Let's look at that. Let's shrink this down. Let's go from I want to look at these 7 counties down to let's look at like 5 cities, right? So let's shrink it down quite a bit. Now let's look at those and see how many people, based off the criteria you want, are in that area. Then let's use the 5% rule. Let's get a base number there. And now the next step of that is let's look at how many licensed beds and how many licensed facilities are in the area. That's really going to help us just kind of narrow this down a little bit. So she did that. And what she found is of the 5 or 6 that she looked at, there were 2 that it just didn't make sense. Either there wasn't enough people there to actually make it work for assisted living, or it was already so oversaturated with the amount of beds that were licensed in the area that it just didn't make sense to pursue that. So we took 7 counties down to 5 or 6 cities down to 3 or 4, and that has now let her really hone in on the specific neighborhoods inside of those areas. Now she's starting to work on HOA conversations and zoning conversations to see what needs to happen there. And those are things that are a lot more valuable with the time. And it all started with that 5% rule and getting down to that. So once you have your 5% rule in an area, the next step is to go and find, there's going to be a database somewhere online that can be hard to find. Sometimes they're easy, but the Secretary of State or the licensing agency, licensing department in the state where you want to do assisted living is going to have a list of all of the licensed facilities in the state. And on top of that, sometimes they actually make this really cool and like interactive on a map. Sometimes it's not, but it's going to have the address for where those facilities are located. If it's licensed, you're going to have it on this list. You're going to have the address. It's going to tell you how many beds are in that facility, how many beds it's licensed for. So you're going to be able to take that, and then you can narrow this down and say, okay, I want to be in, I live in the Salt Lake area. I want to be in Salt Lake City. How many facilities, how many people are in my age group of people I want to serve? How many facilities are in that area? And now I can see, using the 5% rule, do these things align? Is there more demand than there is supply, or vice versa? What does that look like? And that's going to really help me hone in. So if I have determined that there's 1,000 people that need assisted living services, and I look at how many licensed beds there are, and there's only 50 of them, I've got a great opportunity to be working in this area, right? There's a ton of demand and very little supply. But if I look at it and I say there's 1,000 people here and there's already 1,200 licensed beds, now I might not want to be looking at that. So this is why the 5% rule just isn't enough, and you need to dig a little bit deeper and start looking at how many licensed facilities there are in a specific area. The existing facilities are going to change the reality of demand in that micro market. So you want to be making sure that you pay a lot of attention there. The other thing that I'll tell you is the type of facility that those beds are licensed for are going to matter. So this is where you really want to dig into that number that you can find online for your state and the licensed facilities. Because if you find that, let's use the example where we know we have 1,000 people using our 5% rule, and there's 1,200 beds that are already in that area. But if we look at it and we find that the majority of those 1,200 beds are from big box facilities, 1,100, 1,150 of them are big box facilities. You've got a bunch of 50 beds, a bunch of 100-bed facilities, and there's not very many residential, small 6, 10, 16, 15, 20 bed facilities. There's not a lot of those. That can really allow you to get a foothold in the market and market yourself differently because you are a small residential facility. Or let's say there's 1,200 licensed beds and you look at the data and the majority of these are 10-bed facilities. There's 300 of them, like we're in Phoenix, Arizona area, and there's just a ton of these little small assisted living homes, residential style. That might be for us an indicator that it's probably a little oversaturated. Maybe I shouldn't be looking at that. What about doing a big box facility there? Or should I just go outside of that area and find somewhere where it's not so saturated, where I can work with a specific population if I want to be in that area? The thing with assisted living is they are very micro market driven. Most people will not drive more than like 5 to 10 miles to get to a facility. So if you're in Arizona, it doesn't mean that you're in a horrible spot. It just means you might need to go, a little bit outside of the city limits or choose a different municipality that's going to allow you to find the right demand for what you're trying to offer. That's what you want to be looking at. So pay attention to if those licensed facilities, when you find that database, if they are if they're big box or if they're residential facilities. Think about what you want to be doing, and that's going to help you decide if it's a good spot for you. And don't be afraid to walk away. Once you identify that as well, you want to differentiate yourself through your marketing message. So if you are in an area where there's a lot of big box facilities and you're a residential facility, you want to adjust your marketing to be we're family focused, where everything's about family and personalized experience and things like that. Whereas if you're in a spot where there's already a lot of residential and you want to be doing a bigger box facility, you want to say we provide a lot of access, we have all these extra amenities, we have this big kind of communal space for people to come, we have concerts coming, we do all these extra fun things. So you want to figure out how can we market to our population based off of the type of facility that we're going to have. It's going to really benefit you quite a bit as you are digging deeper into the type of facility that you want to have. And then further than that, you've got to start looking at your competition. So yeah, look at your ideal resident, see what they need, see what their care needs are. Make sure you're speaking directly to them. Figure out what they need. This is really important. And this is something if I want you to go. This is a little bit just like, I don't know, meta. Go to my website, assistedlivinginvesting.net, and just kind of scroll through it. And what you're going to see is if I'm doing my job correctly, and if I know who you are, who's watching this, you're going to notice little things in there that they call out specifically to the things, the pain points that you have as you're trying to start an assisted living facility. I don't know how to get started. I don't understand the funding process. I don't understand licensing. I want time and financial freedom. I want to make an impact in my community. I want to leave a legacy for my family. Like, those are words I hear directly from people like you, and I'm trying to pay attention to that so that I can adjust my website so it talks specifically to you, because I know I can help you. I want to help you. But if I can't have a clear message in the way that I put things on my website, then you're never going to find it. You're not going to take it seriously. You're just going to watch my YouTube videos, which are super valuable, by the way. And I appreciate it, and make sure you like the video. But if I'm doing my job correctly, I'm using words that resonate with you. You have to do the exact same thing with your assisted living facility. You need to go out and talk to the potential residents. And when you have residents in your home already, you need to be asking them, like, what made you come here? What do you need? What are your biggest needs? What are your biggest pain points? What were the things that you were most concerned with as you were coming into the facility? Those are the things that you need to have on your website. And if you do marketing, like having ads and things like that, you need to be speaking specifically using the words of the people that you are working with. And that comes through conversations. So if you're a smaller residential facility and you've identified that that's the thing that you need to be working on, That's the population you want to serve, and you've validated through the 5% rule that there's enough demand to meet the supply that you're going to be providing. This is how you can really bring these people in and talk to them and get them into your home and get your beds filled and build a waiting list for the people that are trying to come into your home. This is how you do that. All right. So you need to make sure that you spend time understanding who you are trying to market to, who your ideal market is, and then start talking to them, start seeing what they want, what they're looking for, and you're going to build your marketing message around that. That's how you're going to differentiate yourself. You can't just put it out there and be like, oh yeah, we know that you want this, so we're just going to put it on our website, our marketing materials. You actually have to follow through with it, but that's what's going to allow you to fill your beds quickly and make sure that that supply and demand that we've been talking about, that it's going to be met. I would also encourage you, if you're looking at this and you use the 5% rule and you just like, oh man, I really thought I wanted to be in this area, but I like, there's just way too many people here. I would encourage you to look at a different area. This is how I got into working out of state. I operate, for those of you who don't know, I live in Utah and I've operated in Colorado. We sold our facility a few months ago. I also operate in Idaho. And a lot of that came about through conversations and doing our market research and feeling comfortable. We couldn't find anything at the time in Utah that we felt good about. We found something in Idaho, and that was a little bit scary in the beginning because it was out of state. It's far away. We're new to this, but it has been an incredible experience. Now, you don't have to be as drastic as I was in going out of state, but you can do the next town over, like we were talking about in the Phoenix area in that example. It's okay for you to shift over, and I'm not familiar enough with the geography of of Arizona to tell you the specific area, but think to yourself, man, this area doesn't work for me, but is there somewhere that's pretty close by that we can build our facility or set up our facility and not have to travel a ton? It's okay for you to go outside of your market just a little bit. Don't get so caught up in I have to do it in this one spot. There's demand all over the country. There's this huge demand for assisted living. Like I mentioned, 10,000 people every day are aging into 65 and older. By 2030, all of the baby boomer generation are going to be over 65 years old. This silver tsunami that we've heard about for so long, it's here. It's growing rapidly. By 2050, there's going to be between 50 and 80 million people that are in this age group that are going to need assisted living services. There's not that many beds available. Even if you go 5% of that, like it's still, there's not enough beds to fill that. And so this is an incredible opportunity for you to get into it. Make sure you do your market research and understand where you should be doing these things. And you're going to do that largely by identifying which there's four kind of homes that you can do this with, right? And so there's four methods that you can get into assisted living. So one is you're going to rent and rehab a home. So R&R, rent and rehab. You're going to basically lease a home. You could also be looking at buying a home and converting it into assisted living. You could buy an existing facility, or you could build something from the ground up. So you need to decide which of these methods do I want to use to get into assisted living. Identify that. Then you're going to start doing your market research and you're going to say, okay, well, I know I'm going to use the 5% rule. I'm going to get over to this spot. I'm going to look at these, like my student in the success system. She did this analysis. She narrowed it down to 3 or 4 cities. And now she's working with an agent, a real estate agent specifically. She wants to buy a home and convert it into assisted living. And so she's working with an agent saying, I know I want to be in these 3 cities. I want a home that will allow me to serve 6, 10, however many residents. I need it to be ranch style, so very few stairs, if any. And I need something that's pretty big, and something, if it's already kind of wheelchair accessible, that's a plus, right? You've narrowed your search down from nationwide to state to a few counties down to 3 cities with very specific criteria for what you're trying to look at. And that's what's going to allow you to find the perfect home as you're trying to get into assisted living and start your own business. So those are the things that you need to do. I mentioned at the start of the video, I have an invitation to work with me directly for a week. I'll hop into that right now. If you go to roadmapchallenge.com, you can get more information on this, but it is a week-long challenge coaching experience that I work with you and answer your questions. I help you figure out which model you want to go through. I help you define your why. I help you understand the numbers that you're looking at, understand financing, understand licensing, work through all of those things so that you have this clear roadmap that's very specific to you. The exercises we do in the challenge are things that you're doing yourself to make sure that this is going to work for you. So go check it out, roadmapchallenge.com. I would love to have you in there. It is such a fun experience to work with people. We do a few of these a year. Would love to have you in the next one. It's coming up soon. So go check it out. Again, roadmapchallenge.com. What I hope you gathered here from today's video, and if you found this helpful, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell as well so you get notified every time we put out content like this to help guide you along your path to launching your assisted living business, and share the content with other people. But we've been talking about the 5% rule, how to quickly validate your market to see if it's a good fit for you, what that 5% rule is, why that rule is not enough, and how you can dig deeper into the market and how to really position yourself from a marketing standpoint to get people into your facility and build a waiting list. So if you found that helpful, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell as well so you get notified. Go check out the roadmapchallenge.com, take the quiz, aliquiz.com, 30-second quiz. Would love to see if I can help you out there. And you can get the book, thealibook.com, as well if you'd like to look at that and check out the 5% rule specifically. That is on page 138 in the book. So if you want to look at that and dive a little bit deeper, go read the book. It's super helpful and intuitive in helping you figure out how to get started. Are you curious about assisted living, but you're not sure how to get started? At Assisted Living Investing, I help first-time assisted living entrepreneurs launch profitable, purpose-driven businesses, creating prosperity, purpose, and peace in their lives. I love helping and coaching people. It's one of my favorite things to do. I help beginners, I don't know how to get started, all the way to people that want to, scale to multiple facilities to figure out which one's the best, how I can best help you. Go take the quiz at aliquiz.com. And remember, it doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. Just keep going step by step by step. And I promise you, if you do and you are consistent and persistent, you're going to be successful. Thanks for watching and have a great day.